What's up guys, it's Apollo Uchiha here, back with the next part of What If Naruto Became the 6th Hokage. And yeah guys, before continuing this, if you haven't then please do leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you like the content of this channel. And without further ado, let's continue with our story. Our story continues. The new Hokage stood heroically in the balcony of the Hokage tower. His haori was flapping in the wind. While the large crowd of people cheered his name, Naruto looked heroic in this display as he soaked in the crowd's reaction. He lashed in both the good and the bad. Despite the people's cheer, he could also sense a little bit of doubt lingering in their hearts. He paid it no mind. It only served as inspiration for Naruto to prove them all wrong once more. Among the crowd, Naruto's companions, teammates, and classmates looked in awe as their friend achieved his lifelong dream. On one section, the Konoha 11 all gathered together. Naruto's induction as the Hokage led to a variety of reactions from Naruto's friends and classmates. Naruto-kun, your flames of youth burn as bright as the sun. You truly are my eternal rival. Loudly yelled Rock Lee. Ten merely shook her head and walked towards her loud teammate as she hit his head with her fist. Lee, don't ruin this moment, she scolded. Neji smiled, simply watching his teammates' shenanigans. He shook his head in an amused manner, but he also had a small smile on his face, so yeah, it was a win-win. He looked once more towards the balcony at his and their new Hokage. I may no longer believe in fate, Naruto, but I do believe it was your fate to be Hokage, he thought to himself as he reminisced of his complicated past with Naruto. At the same time, Team 10 were also having their own set of unique reactions. The new generation of Ino, Shikacho all celebrated the success of their long-time friend. Ino gazed towards Naruto's direction, staring at him dreamily. I could really fall for him, she silently told herself, as if, for the Akamichi, he raised a bag of chips to the sky and dedicated it to Naruto before intensely munching down on it. From the three, however, Shikamaru was the one with the most affected by it. He gazed at his fellow at last with a proud smile on his face. Naruto, you troublesome bastard. You did it. Teammates were also significantly affected by this announcement. From their three tunings, two were clapping as one sulked in the ground. Shino stood stoically as he clapped for his friend. If you could look closer, one could see a hint of smile tugging at the corner of his lips. Hinata, on the other hand, cheered shyly as her long-time crush finally achieved her long-life dream. Naruto-kun, she thought with a blush as she admired her friend's stand on the tower's balcony. As for Kiba, the man was kneeling down, punching the ground for losing the Hokage position to his friend. A dark cloud loomed over him, and his dog companion Akamaru attempted to comfort him. Hinata also tried to help her teammate, while Shino merely shook his head, clearly amused at the antics of his rowdy friend. Deep down, Kiba was happy for Naruto, but that doesn't mean he admitted it to anybody. Finally, there are Sakura Haruno, the lone Konoichi of Team 7. She watched with widened eyes as she saw her new love finally achieve her dreams. Then, she began to clap and cheer the loudest amongst their group of friends. Unknowingly, tears cascaded down her cheeks. She was crying tears of joy at seeing Naruto stand in front of them all as their new leader. The idiot finally did it, she thought to herself as she smiled at seeing the new Rokudaime Hokage. She admitted that she had her own doubts about that affair, but she had to utmost faith that Naruto will succeed. As always, he did, by proving them wrong. She was also slightly surprised to see his attire, but she couldn't help but blush upon seeing the new Naruto. Another small group of Naruto's friends stood in a different area of the crowd. A small group, including Kakashi, Kai, Kurenai, Shizune, and Iruka. Team Ebisu were also in the group, with the three Genin of the team cheering loudly for their boss, while the elder ninjas were speechless upon the sight of their new leader. The group of elder ninjas could not utter a single word. There in front of them was their Rokudaime Hokage. They were all joyful and proud at the young man's achievement, but the group could not get one thing off their mind: his similarity to a certain past Hokage. Soon they were broken of their reverse as the three Genin urged them to cheer as well. The older ninjas soon began to cheer for Naruto, all except for Kakashi. The masked man merely smiled underneath his mask and looked at the sky. Minato-sensei, Kushina-sama, you two should be proud of your son. I am honored to call him my student, he thought to himself. Back on the balcony of the tower, Naruto decided to finally address the crowd. He smiled brightly upon seeing his reception. He has certainly come a long way since his earlier days. He raised one arm slightly and the crowd began to slowly cease their cheering to listen to their leader's words. I stand here before all of you as your Hokage. This dream of mine has finally been fulfilled. I wouldn't have been in this position without the help of my friends. Over the years, they are the reasons I turned out to be a man I am today. The man who stands as Hokage before you all, said Naruto as his friend smiled at the young man. It was a typical Naruto display. It was his day to shine, and yet he couldn't help but still include them in the spotlight. I admit I have not had the best life and childhood growing up. It wasn't always peaches and rainbows. I was alone for most of my life, and I was ostracized due to which was inside of me, and everyone doubted if I would ever succeed as a ninja, he said as the people of Konoha looked down in guilt and shame. They were aware of their past and mistakes. Despite all of that, I have no grudges. I have forgiven all of you a long time ago, and despite my past, I will still protect you all as the new Hokage. Do not worry about the past grievance. As Hokage, consider you all as a part of my family, and I promise to you all that I will protect you till my dying breath. Naruto continued as the people in the crowd looked up in admiration. They clapped and cheered for him. The people of Konoha were grateful for his forgiveness and dedication. Naruto looked at the people before continuing. He smiled at the reaction of the people, and that simply reminded him of just how much he truly loved the village of Konoha. Konoha will be in safe hands with me. The will of fire will live on through us, and for future generations, I will make sure of that. I swear on the graves of my predecessors, I will protect and lead Konoha to the best of my abilities. He stated as the crowd began to cheer louder and louder for the young blonde man. From this day forth, I will proudly serve the greatest village in the world, Kumogakure no Sato, as the Rokudaime Hokage. He finished. The cheers and the celebration seemed to have no end in sight. The people of Konoha were beyond ecstatic. With the news of a new Hokage, Naruto was adored by the public. He was quickly rising from the celebrity status into something much more. Today signified a new age in Konoha, the age of the Rokudaime Hokage, Naruto Uzumaki. Somewhere in the land of fire, the trio of ninjas hailing from Kumogakure continued their journey to Konoha. The joining leader Samui as getting annoyed at the bickering of her two tuning teammates Kari and Amoy. As their journey continued, Kari suddenly lost it. She grabbed her hair out in frustration. Damn it! How long till we reach Konoha? With the pace we're going, B-sensei may already have been extracted by those Akatsuki bastards. Why can't we just take the fight to them? We don't need Konoha's help. Kumo's army is more than enough though, she boldly declared in an angered tone. Samui sighed. She realized that with the rate they were going, their sensei Killer Bee life may be in peril. But she also knew that even have a chance to rescue and find their sensei, they will need to find the help of other nations. Kari, please be patient. If we were to attempt to rescue a mission, we at least need help from Konoha. Akatsuki includes S-rank ninjas, and the one who attacked B-sensei was an Uchiha. We are simply overmatched at this point in time, she explained calmly as Kari looked down in defeat. She knew Samui was right. Amoy nodded his head in agreement. Samui, how long till we reach Konoha? He asked calmly as he continued to suck on his lollipop. From my estimation, it will take us up to 5 days at most to make it to Konoha. If we are lucky, we could probably arrive sometime in the next 3 days, she explained as the two Chunins groaned. The two began to complain at how long their journey has been and how much longer it will take. Samui sighed at the antics of her two teammates' display. I'm in charge of children. Wow. Lucky me, she thought at herself in disbelief as she shook her head in disbelief. Link break. Meanwhile, back in Konoha, Naruto's induction ceremony had just finished. The crowds returned to helping in their part to repair the damage left by pain during this attack. The daimyo also said goodbye to the new Hokage as he decided it was time for him to return to his home, seeing as how his work was done. The Toads also returned to their home in Mount Miyaboku once the induction ceremony was finally over. After shaking the hands of the daimyo and the two Konoha commanders, Naruto walked down to the tower to make his way to his new office. Upon opening it, he saw his two new elders waiting for him, patiently in front of his desk. Once the two saw him, both nodded and stood up. Hokage-sama, they both said simultaneously before bowing down respectfully. Koharu-san, Hamura-san. The young man greeted. Hokage-sama, as you know, myself and Hamura-san are your two official advisors. We also serve as elders in Konoha, and we have served under the Sandaime and the Yondaime, and also the Godaime Hokage, explained Koharu as Naruto nodded. As you two advisors, we are aware that you are still new to the job and that you still lack the skills required for this position. No offense, Hokage-sama, explained the female advisors. None taken, Koharu-san. I'm more than aware of what my strengths and weaknesses are. He answered back calmly. I see. Well, that is good. But seeing as how this is your first day on the job, allow me and Hamura-san to give you the official tour. In this tour, we will introduce you to the heads of certain departments in Konoha. It will be important for you to be acquainted with them, seeing as they will serve under you. We will also show you the location accessible only to the Hokage and other high-ranking officials within Konoha. Will this be alright, Hokage-sama? She asked. Naruto nodded. He then glanced over to his new desk. He saw stacks of paper and he groaned, recognizing them to be his paperwork. The paperwork required of him were all vital towards the village, and so he had to treat it with the utmost respect. But he also realized that this tour is an excellent opportunity for him to grow accustomed to his new job and to learn the ropes. He again made 10 Kage bunches and sent them to work. The 10 clones saluted mockingly before carrying on to do their newly assigned orders. Koharu and Hamura watched into the background. The two looked at each other and shrugged. Both were slightly surprised to see the Hokage manage to learn the secret of their jutsu their sensei created. They did have to admit it was an efficient method. The new Hokage then decided to begin the tour. He and his two advisors quickly made their way. Soon hours fly by between the three of them. During the tour, Naruto was first shown around the tower itself. He also was shown the elder's office just below his office, the council room in the top floor of the tower, and the other vital rooms within the tower. Then Naruto was shown to the underground prison of the village, the Konoha Strict Correctional Facility. There he was introduced to the wardens and he was told the purpose of this area. The prison itself is the most dangerous of Konoha, seeing as how it was the house of the most villainous and violent criminals and missingness of Konoha. Afterwards, Naruto and the two elders returned to the village itself. There he was introduced to the heads of the department. First was Morino Ibiki, the head of Kumogakure Torture and Intelligence Department. Next was the Jonin commander Shikakumaru's father. Naruto was already familiar with the two, but they explained their roles to Naruto for him to better understand how they could help in the future. Next on the list was the Hokage Guard platoon. The two elders introduced Naruto to one of his two form of bodyguards protection squads. Unlike the four-man Anbu squad, the Hokage Guard platoon was in charge of Naruto's protection when traveling outside of Konoha. Naruto met the three members of the group. The leader was a Tokubetsu Jonin Naruto recognized from his Chunin exam, Shiranai Genma. Then there was another Tokubetsu Jonin in the group, Namiyashi Raido, and the final member was the lone Chunin from the three, Tatami Iwashi. Naruto was glad to meet them all, seeing as how they will be protecting him from the years to come. Once they finished with the induction and introduction here, Naruto was shown around the other areas remaining inside Konoha and introduced to other high-ranking officials within Konoha who now work under him. Not too long after the tour was coming to close to an end, the last two places were the Konoha Archive Library and the Anbu headquarters. They decided to go to the former rather than the later first. The library was not the ordinary library in Konoha. This library was placed in the Hokage monument and was only accessible to the Hokage, the elders, the Jonin commander, and the Anbu commander of Konoha. Other than that, the area was off limits. Naruto was shown the entrance of the area and how to enter it. He needed to place his blood on a seal that was placed on the door for it to recognize whether or not the person had access to the area, and the seal was recently updated to also include Naruto's blood within the list. The security system worked somewhat similarly to a summoning jutsu. As the three entered the library, Naruto was told of what it held. The library had gigantic shelves of books, documents, folders, notes, and scrolls in the area, all of which were categorized in a neat, ordinary fashion, and orderly as well. Naruto stood in the room in awe. He noted to himself to take advantage of his access to the area, seeing as how it could prove vital for his tenure as Hokage. Naruto walked around the library in both shock and awe upon seeing the massive gathering of books and the other files. Hamura walked over to him. Amazing, isn't it? He asked. Naruto nodded in agreement. Well, Hokage-sama, you have access to this all. This library contains various scrolls of every jutsu of Konoha. There are also jutsu scrolls from other nations, but it mostly contains the scrolls of Konoha. Inside there are also documents, folders, and notes from the former regimes. The past Hokages also held their own scrolls and journals which could be found here, and you are more than welcome to take as much as you want, just as long as you return them, explained Hamura. This could prove to be extremely beneficial for me, Naruto admitted, as he continued to explore the large area. He then went to the fourth head, much to the confusion of both the advisors, but they followed him nonetheless. He looked around and found an Uzumaki spiral engraved in one of the walls. He went over there and swiped his blood over it. The rock began to fall, and it showed two gigantic doors, which opened to show the large library containing the Namikaze and Uzumaki scrolls. The elders were shocked watching this, as they never knew that this place ever existed. Naruto saw this shock look and decided to enlighten them. This is a place where Tochan and Kachan kept their clan scrolls in case something happened and their house was destroyed. If I am right, there should be an armory in here. They saw a door inside where 5 Chokotos and 5 katanas hanged on the wall, with a scroll and a special katana kept on a wooden platform. They also saw that there was a kimono of full sizes hanging there made of the finest silk. There was a special red armor which was shining. But there were also 2 large scrolls which were summoning contracts of one if we was to see it. Naruto opened both the contracts and found that one was the Phoenix summoning contract and the other was the Wolf summoning contract. Naruto seemed confused, and the elders decided to enlighten him. Homura spoke up. Hokage-sama, these are the Namikaze and Uzumaki summoning contract. We also thought that they were lost until now. The Uzumaki one is the Phoenix summoning contract, and the Namikaze one is the Wolf summoning contract. Even though they are your birthright, I advise to you discuss it with the Toad elders before signing the contracts. Naruto replied, Arigato Homura-san, I have to discuss it with them first before doing that. But before that, Naruto made 50 Kagebunshis and sent them to read the scrolls in the library. He then summoned Fukusaka and Shima, who seemed confused, and Naruto looked at them with a smile. As they asked Naruto, Naruto-chan, why have you summoned us and where are we? Asked Fukusaka. Naruto answered, Come in, Fukusaka-sama, Shima-sama, but I came across my clan's summoning contracts and decided to ask you two first about it. Fukusaka and Shima smiled and chuckled, which confused all 3 of them. Fukusaka then answered, No problem, Naruto-chan. We were already discussing with them first after you were born. They have no problem in this, but I recommend you to summon Bunta and us when you are about to summon them for the first time. Naruto nodded and sealed his clone summoning contract on the sleeve of his right on the Hiyori, and both of them disappeared back to the Mount Miyaboku as he formally signed the contract with his blood. He then strapped the Uzumaki clan contract on his back, pocketed the scrolls, which was with the katanas and chokotos. He then sealed the armor in another scroll which was the same size as the clan summoning contract. He also took the katanas and sealed them in one and chokotos in another. He did the same with the kimonos as he took the last katana and picked it up. It had a black handle with a blood red sheath with flowing water on it. He unsheathed it. It was crimson red blade, which made Koharu and Homura gasp. Koharu, Hokage-sama, that is your mother's prized blade. We also thought it was to be lost. Naruto eyed the blade. She did it and attached it to the left side of his waist, and gave the story scrolls to his Kagebunshin and left with the advisors. After a while, Naruto and the 2 decided to go to their final location, the Anbu headquarters. The Anbu headquarters secretly entrance was within the Hokage Tower basement. There Naruto was shown a secret door and pathway to the base itself. This base provided to be among the many littered all around Konoha, but this also served to be the main base for Anbu. The others were also decimated during the attack of Pain, leaving this to be the sole remaining base within Konoha for now. As Naruto entered, he was shown through the area until they arrived to the base itself. The area was large, seeing how it was underground. There were various facilities in the area such as changing rooms, offices, conference rooms, bathrooms, gyms, dojos, training grounds, and a bar, and other recreational rooms. None of these were of concern, however, as they instead made it their way to Anbu Commander's office instead. During their walk to the Anbu Commander's office, the various Anbu within the base began to salute respectfully towards their new leader. Naruto smiled at the respect he was getting. After a few minutes later, they finally managed to arrive at the commander's gate and office. Once they entered and arrived, Naruto thought it seemed similar to the Hokage office, but slightly smaller. The Anbu commander bowed, and the 3 noticed he was accompanied by 4 other Anbu operatives, who bowed alongside the commander. It seemed as if the man had been expecting them for some time. Hokage-sama, it is a pleasure to meet you, he said. Thank you, Anbu, Hancho. It seems you have been expecting us, replied the young Hokage. Indeed, Hokage-sama, we were waiting for your arrival, as I wish to introduce your new Anbu bodyguard squad to you. I showed that upon reviewing all my personnel, I could not find anyone and anybody else more capable than them. They are the best of the best, said the masked man as his 4 trusted Anbu who stood in a place proudly, saluted Naruto. Naruto nodded and smiled as he saw them. He noticed that there was 3 shinobi and 1 Konoichi from the group. Pleased to meet you all, but before you all become my official protection squad from Anbu, I wish to meet you all without the masks, he said with a smile. The 4 Anbu members all looked towards their commander as if asking for permission. He nodded and the 4 members removed their masks. Naruto looked at each of them. Could you please introduce yourself? He asked as the 4 nodded. The first one to walk up was an average-looking man. He had spiky brown hair and brown eye. He looked like he was in his mid-30s. Hokage-sama, I am Miyamoto Katsuro. My role in the group are as the captain and the tracker. My Anbu code is Okami, Wolf, and I have been in Anbu for 15 years. Stepping back, Naruto looked at the next one, as the next one walked up was a blonde man with blue eyes, much like Naruto, who looked to be in his 30s as well. My name is Yamanaka Daiichi, Hokage-sama. My role in the team is as the torture and interrogator specialist of the group. I also serve as a censor. My Anbu core name is Hio, Panther, and I have been in Anbu for 11 years, he said as he stepped back into the group. Naruto nodded. This is a good start, he said pleasantly as the lone Konoichi of the group walked up to begin her introduction. She appeared to have a slender and athletic figure. She had dark blue hair and green eyes, and she also appeared to be in her mid-30s and 20s. Hokage-sama, my name is Suzuki Kaede. I serve as the poison specialist, the trap expert and medic for our group. The code name is Kumo, Spider, and I have been in the organization for 6 years. Then the final member walked up as Kaede rejoined her group. The young man had dark red hair, much like Gaara, but he also had yellow eyes. He appeared to be in his mid-20s as well. My name is Sato Hadiki. I am the weapon specialist, infiltration expert and assassin of the group. In Anbu, I am known as Tanuki, Badger, and I have been in the line of work for 7 years now, Hokage-sama, he said. Naruto could hear a certain nine-tailed fox laughing his ass off in the mind but ignored it. Naruto was pleased with his team. Thank you all for agreeing to do this. I feel safe now that my life is in your hands, he told as 4 of them smiled. In behalf of 4 of us, Hokage-sama, we vow to protect your life to the best of my abilities, said the captain of the group, Katsuro Miyamoto. The Hokage approved of the 4 as he ordered them to get ready to begin. The 4 nodded and managed to station themselves within the Hokage tower. With this final step now done, the tour was now over and the 3 returned to their official offices at a leisured pace. Naruto decided his best to remember all the places and people from earlier today. As they entered the office once more, Naruto saw his clones hard at work as they quickly and efficiently went through the Hokage's bane known as paperwork. He also noticed the letters properly sealed and placed in the side of his desk, and he smiled at the good job done by his shadow clones. The Namikaze summoning contract and the story scrolls were also there, kept in the corner. He removed his summoning scroll and kept it there. The 2 elders were also surprised at the rate the shadow clones were finishing the paperwork. In order to check their work, Hamura walked over to the pile of the completed paperwork and began to read a few of the tops. He was quite impressed at the performance and the choice of the clones. Their decisions and choices with the paperwork was a little rough around the edges, but that was to be expected. All in all, though, it was quite well done considering that Naruto's non-existence experience to this line of work. Naruto saw the impressed expression of the elders and he couldn't help but grin upon seeing their reactions. He then walked over to his new chair and sat in it as he relaxed in his aching feet. 2 elders then made their way to the front of Naruto's desk as they decided to direct their attention to the young man. Do you have any questions, Hokage-sama? Asked Koharu nodded slightly. Yes, I have 2 questions. First, Tom, am I able to promote anybody I see fit? My second one is related to my staff. If I'm not mistaken, I am also entitled to an advisor or 2 and a secretary, right? Hamura began to answer Naruto's first question. For the promotion, unfortunately, you are unable to just promote anyone you see fit. For this, you have to run your choices over the councils during meeting, where they will vote on whether or not a candidate is worthy of the promotion. But during this time of war or during an invasion attack, you are given the ability to bypass the rule. Promote whoever you want. You do not need to seek approval of the council. For the second question, Hokage-sama, yes, you are entitled to your own personal staff. You alone are in charge of choose them, but we do advise to be cautious as to who you would choose as your advisors. We recommend for you to choose only 2 of them. And even though we will serve as your official advisors, they will be your personal advisors, answered Koharu. Any other questions, Hokage-sama? She asked. Actually, I have another question which popped into my mind. It's about the joining vote. I just want to know any details about it, when it will take place and such, he told them. The Jonin vote is a customary tradition to see if one candidate is truly worthy of the position of the Hokage. Usually it takes a month or two during the regime of the Hokage to see if he is worthy, but due to the state of the village, we believe we may push it back to the 6 months. During these 6 months, you must impress the Jonin of Konoha and show them why you are most worthy of this position. During the vote, you also need to at least 75% of the Jonins to vote to be accepted. The votes of Jonin, Anbu and Tokubatsu Jonin are counted during this event, explained Koharu. Naruto understood the answers of the two elders. He already had people in mind for a promotion and for his personal advisors and secretary. He also felt no pressure with the Jonin vote. He was confident in his abilities. Sensing no other question, the elders nodded. Koharu then informed Naruto about what tomorrow would bring for him. Hokage-sama, we have also scheduled your first ever council meeting tomorrow. The clan heads and the other council members were also told about this. This is customary, much like the tour, in order to show the newly introduced Hokage to the real council meeting, since as Hokage this is going to be a regular event in your life. The council members are anxious to hear from you. They are currently awaiting any form of news or plans you may have concerning Konoha's reconstruction. And while you are there, I suggest for you to ready whatever idea you have in mind, which requires approval from the council. Now if you ever have any more questions you wish to ask from us, you just look for us within our offices below you. She explained to Naruto as both she and Hamura began to exit the office of the Hokage. But before the two could leave, Naruto decided to ask them one more question that has been bugging him all day. Wait. He called out to them as the two refrained their action and moved back into the front of Naruto's desk. Yes, Hokage-sama, what do you need from us? Asked Amura. Actually, Amura-san, Koharu-san, I have one final question, but it is more of a personal question. He admitted. Of course, Hokage-sama, ask away, replied Koharu. Naruto gulped as he thought of a way not to sound rude towards some elders. Why are the two of you being so supportive of me? He asked. As the moment those words came out of his mouth, he realized his mistake, as it did sound slightly rude towards the two elders. Excuse me? Koharu asked a little bit confused tone. Naruto recomposed himself. What I mean is, why are you two suddenly helping me and my chance at being Hokage? I wouldn't have thought that the both of you would have been supporters of Danzo rather than myself. And I recall both of you not being practically fond of me during my childhood. He explained. The elder's expression softened. They now understood Naruto's confusion towards the whole situation. Koharu looked at Amura, and the eldest man stood there and nodded to her, giving her the confirmation to finally explain their views concerning the matter at hand to Naruto. Koharu sighed. We will admit, Naruto-sama, when you were growing up, we weren't practically your biggest fans. We admit that we were even on Danzo's sides when the topic at hand was concerning you. We thought it would be best for you to be placed in Root rather than the academy, but the Sandams always rejected Danzo's suggestion to place you in Root. But as you continued to grow, so did our opinions about you, she explained. Naruto listened attentively. He flinched at the attention of his most possible recruitment to the Root. He was extremely grateful towards the Sandam that he had not been placed in that horrible faction. The Sandam was the first key factor in changing our views about you. Risen was always a kind and nurturing man, and he thought the world of you. He always believed in you, and that belief soon rubbed on us. When we saw you risk your life during the tuning exam, and when we saw you willing to take on pain by yourself, we saw you for who you truly were, she continued. Naruto looked at the two elders in surprise. He hadn't known that he has this effect on people. Ever since the tuning exams, we saw your potential and the love you held for the village. We also saw the will of fire burning brightly within you. We could see greatness in your near future. And we even believed you could even one day become Hokage. We just didn't think it would be so soon. And although we believe in you, we aren't necessarily sold on you already becoming Hokage. You're much too young to be Hokage-sama. And you don't have the required knowledge, political savviness, or nor the etiquette to be truly Hokage, at least not yet. We want you to be one day Hokage, but we would have preferred it to be on the later rather than sooner. We wish that by the time you were chosen as Hokage, you would have already been equipped with the required skills and knowledge rather than having to be baptized in fire. Naruto nodded, fully understanding the source of their worries and reluctance. He was not as surprised, but it revolved around his immaturity, unrefined nature, impatience, and naivety. As Hokage needed to be the perfect blend of both strength and knowledge, but as to this point in time, Naruto was more than aware that his strength was far more superior to his knowledge. If he were to be a successful Hokage, he needed to grow up, mature up, and learn as much as he can. And he planned on doing just that. Although we do agree with Danzo from time to time, although we are friends with him, even we must admit that we would rather have you as Rokudame Hokage than him. She confessed as Naruto was broken out of his thoughts. He stared at the elder woman with shocked expression. What do you mean? He asked. Danzo is too aggressive and ambitious for his own good. And though he cares for Konoha as much as we do, his methods of showing it is questionable, to say the least. Naruto nodded in understanding. But Hokage-sama, it is what it is, and there is no turning back. This time, we are still more than happy that you're Hokage, but That does not mean we will always be on your side during arguments and debates. We may be supporters of you, but our main priority is Konoha and the village's well-being. We may not always appear to be on your friends and your own side, Hokage-sama, but we will do everything we can to help you live to your potential. Naruto looked at Koharu surprised at her words she told him. He smiled at the two elders and felt happy to know that he did have people who believed in him. Arigato, Koharu-san, Hamura-san. The two looked at Naruto. The two bowed respectfully to Naruto as well. Hokage-sama, we may not believe you are ready just yet for your position, but we will assist you in any way possible to hone your potential for you to be a great Hokage. Hamura said before the two elders began to leave Naruto's office, but before the two left, Hamura remembered something important. Also, before we leave, Hokage-sama, I wish to give you something to help you start off with. Hamura told Naruto as he handed a moderate-sized story scroll. Inside this story scroll are books on topics such as politics, history, and economics. There are merely a small collection of books within our offices, which could help you develop your skills as Hokage. I recommend for you to read them soon as you can, considering this our congratulatory gift, Hokage-sama. Just as they were about to leave, the door opened and Danzo came in with a stoic demeanor on his face. He closed the door and said, Hokage-sama, you called me. Naruto remembered his talk to Danzo during the meeting and said, Yes, Danzo, it's good that the advisors are also here. Now I have a question to ask you. What do you remember about Nandem's shinobi program that he wanted to enforce? The advisor looked confused, but Danzo knew what he wanted to see and what he wanted to hear. He wanted to enforce a training program similar to my root, but instead of removing emotions, he wanted shinobi to control their emotions. Both the advisors looked a little shocked and Naruto said, Now Danzo, I was going to look in these drawers and found out a specific piece of paperwork that Sandem Jiji left before his death. It was concerning your root. Everyone's eyes widened when he mentioned root because its existence was an A-rank secret. Now Danzo, before I continue any further, I want to tell you that because of being the Jinchuriki of Konoha, I have the same ability as Mito-sama. I am a living lie detector. So, I want you to tell me only the truth from now on. Danzo was sweating bullets. The boy could potentially expose the secret of his root and have him executed. So Danzo, I will ask you a question. Reply to me in only yes or no, said Naruto, who had a small smirk on his face, which infuriated Danzo even further. Do you love Konoha? Hi. If the root existed, then can I control of it anytime I want it? Hi. Did the Sandem ask you to disband root? Hi. Did you coax Hanzo to work with a peaceful group? Hi. Did you have one of its leaders killed? Hi. Did you know that he was a student of Jiraiya? No. Do you admit your crimes? Hi. Do you want to repay for your crimes and he be useful to Konoha? Hi. Is root still running? Hi. Then, as from this moment, you are the commander of Reinstated Root Division of Anbu, whose supreme control is under me. Danzo had eyes as wide as saucers on the statement and mouth open, but before he can say anything, Naruto continued. But you will follow Nandem-sama's program in your route. I want battle-hardened shinobi who can lead and make their own decisions, not emotionless puppets who can't think on their own. So what do you say? He glanced over his teammates, but they were amused by this. Kor spoke up, Yes, Danzo, the boy discussed it with us before he started this tour. He found a good solution and asked us for advice, and we approved because we found the solution to be great. Naruto continued where she left off. Root will be a division and a training unit. People can apply to be a part of Root or to be trained as a Root, but the training part will not include any emotionless training. The people who would be able to apply to Root will be any rank above Tokubetsu Jonin. Hamura picked up from here. After we make a new academy system, anyone above Chunin rank from the new batch will be able to apply. The new academy system will be designated and designed by the Shinobi Council. So what do you say about this offer? Danzo was shocked when he said this. Only 3 days being the Hokage and he takes such drastic measures. He finally voiced his thoughts. Why are you doing this? Why? For the best of Konoha, of course. If shinobi can control their emotions and think for themselves, then someone like Nagato can be saved and could be asset to the village instead of dying, replied Naruto. Danzo fought his respect for Naruto growing and decided to ask himself a final question. Permission to ask one final question, Hokage-sama. Naruto sighed as he knew Danzo's question and replied, I know what you want to say, Danzo. Yes, I will admit that Sasuke is like a brother to me and has lost himself to darkness, but I will give him one final chance before doing what is best for Konoha. Kill him and that would be the end of the once great Uchiha clan, and they will be engraved in history forever. Danzo seemed surprised and daunted by this, but the look in Naruto's eyes removed every simmer and shimmer of doubt as he smiled, stood up and bowed and said, Of course, Hokage-sama, except by the end of the week, I will have each root shinobi on the official records of Konoha and you have supreme command over it. Naruto nodded and said, Koharu-san, Hamura-san, can you please leave? There are some private matters I want to discuss with Danzo-san here. Both of them nodded and left. Naruto made a hand seal and the Anbu also left. He then put up silencing privacy seals on the whole situation and said, Danzo, I have a mission that only you can accomplish. It's regarding the Akatsuki. There is very high chance that you will be killed. But if this mission is successful, we will have Akatsuki on our fingertips. Danzo, surprised by the seriousness in his voice, nodded and asked, What is this mission, Hokage-sama? Naruto said, In this mission you have to. As this is where I'm going to be leaving this part of, guys. I hope you like this one, and sorry about the background noises. There is a construction work going on nearby me. So yeah, if you do, then please leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you like the content of this channel. And without further ado, let's end this video here. As this is Apollo Uchiha, and I'm signing out. Peace!